So we'll get going. We've got a pretty full agenda here, so we'll get right into it. We'll start off with extensions of time. The first is Montauk Colony LLC is the applicant. The lot size and location, 40, 42, 44, and 46 DeForest Road, Montauk, tax map number 300-32-6-16.2, 16.3, 16.4, and 16.5. The original ZBA determination for for administrative NRSP was filed September 12th, 2018 to place approximately 1,200 cubic yards of clean bluff compatible sand and revegetation with American beach grass on a parcel of land containing coastal bluffs, beaches, and tidal wetlands. Tyler, would you mind walking us through this one, Tyler, if you please, from the planning department, Tyler Borsak?
Well, I think Mike's
actually, Lenny, I'm sorry.
Mike tonight.
Michael, I'm sorry, Mike, thanks.
No worries. Just subbing in B team. So like you said, these are 4 lots in between Otis Road and what's known as Dirt Lot. They got an admin in the past to do a restoration, and what they're applying for is an extension of time to continue the permit. Now, we've also gotten word that they have completed the work. We know the work is done. They also want to try to make this a multi-year permit. It's our contention that, this isn't the right avenue for it, that we could close out the original permit and they should apply for a new permit that would then be a multi-year permit. It just wasn't applied for in that fashion. It was a 1-year permit the way it was initially submitted, and the work has been completed. So that's kind of just where we are on that one. Thanks,
Michael. Terry, is your
I have Tyler's memo, about that, and I believe he's correct. It's not our policy to typically do this. The work's been done. I agree that the permit should be closed out, and they could reapply for another permit. So I am, I would say that we don't approve the extension of time.
Thanks, Terry. I completely agree with you. Board members?
I agree, but I also make an observation, if you will, from this aerial that we're looking at. If I remember this is the old East Deck demolition. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought the determination was to share one beach access. I'm not sure if that was right or not.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm seeing 3 beach accesses here at least.
Yeah.
Can we just look into that?
Look into that and see how we kind of rectify it. Arguably, when those lots eventually come in for the houses to be built on them, we could catch it then. But I'll see what we can do on our end now.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks. That's a good memory. I recall that now. But and then Tim, I'll let you speak next. But let me just ask Michael, is this a photo of where it is today, or when was this photo taken, this aerial?
This aerial is from 2018.
Oh, so this is not what
this is prior to, this is prior to the work being completed. Well, actually, I think it's prior to the permit being issued.
So my point being, when you do inspect, you might find that they've perhaps wisely taken that single access into account right now with their work. But I guess the revegetation, has it? Well,
yeah.
No, John, I think
it's only the sand. This is only the sand this issue right here, right?
Correct.
But John, I think that was
with beach grass stuff too.
I think that was a different determination or a different application. The application I'm referring to was a subdivision of the lots, if you remember, not the coastal bluffs.
Right. Yeah.
Restoration.
Yes. Right. Okay. Tim.
I'm in agreement with the denial.
Okay. I guess, council, that's enough there, right? Correct?
Council?
Nancy Lynn?
She may be on mute.
She might be on mute.
You're on mute.
There we go.
There we go.
Sorry about that. I'm good about putting on the mute so I don't disturb anybody, but.
So we're good on that, correct?
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do denials. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Okay, next for possible administrative applications, we have Smythe, and I'll read this in. Excuse me, the applicant is Patricia Smythe Living Trust. Lot size and location, 38,707 square feet at 140 Navy Road, Montauk, tax map number 300-26-1-5. Description: to construct a 134-foot linear feet of bluff stairs on a parcel of land containing bluffs, beaches, and within jurisdiction of tidal wetlands. And this is the relief sought here as a natural resources special permit pursuant to section 255-4-20 of the town code. The zoning district is A residential X flood zone, and the secret class is type 2. And again, Michael, I believe you're going to walk us through this again, if you would, please.
Yes, board member. So what this is a house on the end of Navy Road before you get to Eddie Ecker Park here. And there's a bluff that runs along the parcel, and they're looking to put in bluff stairs to gain access to the beach down at Navy Beach. It had originally come in, there were large landings on it that didn't comply with the 4-foot width policy of the board, so we had them revise that. They've since revised it, submitted a construction protocol, as well as agreed to revegetate the bluff face, all the bare spots with beach grass as part of the permit. So.
How would they propose? Oh, okay. Thank you.
There you go.
They're going to go straight down from there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's relatively, it's an interesting kind of situation because it's a little shallower up here and then it really drops off the closer you get to the beach. We had thrown around the idea and kind of discussed it with them about doing a trail, but there was a concern with, a trail for the top half and then bluff stairs along the bottom. But there was a concern with kind of every demographic being able to navigate that.
Yeah. Actually, I went there before we got your documentation, and I went to the top. I walked up that 2-mile driveway, and it looked pretty steep to me on the part you're saying is not as steep now that I can see on the survey. But
it's a little
pretty treacherous.
deceiving when you look at it from the top down. It seems a little shallow up here, and then it gets real steep. And when you look at it from the bottom, it's pretty apparent that doing a trail or something natural that would kind of minimize the disturbance just really wouldn't be safe overall.
Yeah. Now they had some nice trees and things, nice oak trees and stuff along there. They're going to try to avoid that. You're going to have them avoid that as much as possible.
Yeah, I believe the oak trees are a little more
to the east. To the east of that?
Yeah, they're right over here to the east. So they're planning on going right here. And
can you pull up that photo, Michael, earlier that I saw it? That was.
Yeah. So here's. Give it a quick sec. This is kind of in the area of the proposed location.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of right through here. And then this is from the bottom looking up. This was in April that I went out there to take a look at it. And this is the property here. And then, hopefully after the re-veg, it would look something more like this property that's next to them on the left side of the screen. The only thing is you'll notice that in the aerial that, this is the area that's re-vegged on that property. And this is the area that for some reason isn't. I don't know whether that it had been and then it slumped and eroded or what. But, so when this project is done, there will be kind of a little triangle of there, but, eventually we'll catch it when the neighboring parcel comes in.
Yeah, because you'd think that if that restoration there, Michael, and the neighbor was approved, it would have been along the whole frontage, correct? Typically.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Terry?
Yeah, I guess okay with it going administratively. I saw no sign of anything that looked like any kind of path that Michael was describing, but I guess that's farther down.
It would have ended up having to get switched back around. So it would have probably, the clearing on it would have been greater, but the disturbance would have been less. So,
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like Michael's on top of it.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it going administratively.
Thanks, Terry. Roy, Tim?
I'm fine with it.
Same here.
Yeah, I'm fine with it as well. Thanks, Terry. Michael, thanks for your work on this.
no problem.
Yeah. Now, this is the current owner, right?
Yes, to my knowledge, it is anyhow.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
believe it
No,
is
there is a
listed
realtor sign
held
over
up.
there, too. Yeah,
Yeah, but to my knowledge, it's still under the same ownership.
yeah, okay. All right, in the matter of Patricia Smythe, Living Trust at 140 Navy Road in Montauk, tax map 300-26-1-5. I make a motion to allow this application to be, to go administratively, to be done administratively.
Second.
Concur.
And I concur. Thanks, Terry. Okay, we'll keep moving here. Next, we'll go on to modification. Dawsey is the applicant at 76 Oyster Shores Road, East Hampton, tax map number 300-92-6-7. Original determination was filed March 20th, 2019. This is a modification request to correct a typographical error in the original determination. The applicant has revised the plans originally approved by the board from the approximate 1,350 square feet of total additions to 1,305 square feet of additions, comprised of 754 square feet of one-story addition, 354 square feet, garage addition, and 197 square second floor addition over the garage. The applicant is requesting the modification of the purpose of modification description of work approved to read to construct a 754 square foot one-story addition, 354 square foot first-story garage addition, 197 square foot second floor addition over the garage, and 336 square feet of decking on a parcel of land containing tidal wetlands. The applicant has requested the approved plans to be modified from those originally reviewed, noted above to Ann Sherry architect plans dated last revised 10/11/2019, received 12/12/2019. Also received as an updated survey from Michael Hemmer LSPC, dated last revised 10/3/2019, received 12/12/2019. The survey now depicts the easement as approved by the board. And this is in board member Brenneman's district. Tim?
Sure. I don't know if we have any additional information here we're going to put up.
We have the determination from 2019.
Yeah, no, I read through that. I mean, this looks very straightforward to me. It was a typo.
Well, I don't get how's it a typo and then there's a modification? Or the modification is just for a typo?
Yeah, that wasn't clear in that description. What happened is it came in, I think it was written 350 square feet instead of 1,350.
Right.
Right, that it should have said, if it were the determination in referencing what had originally been asked for, instead of reading 350, it should have read 1,350. However, now that they've moved along, they actually don't need the 1,350. They need the 1,305.
Right.
And they have updated surveys and building plans that we can reference. So it's not just fixing a typo, it's now also modifying it to match the updated plans.
Okay.
So we're doing both in
Sounds
one.
better.
If the board is so inclined, we are doing both in one new modification.
Yeah, and from my perspective, what's not to like? We're fixing it. We're being more specific, I think, in our description. We've got an updated survey with the easement that was approved. So from my perspective, I'm good with this.
Okay, and just to clarify, so ultimately it's 1,305
Yes.
square feet.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Roy, any comments, Roy?
Yes, no, I don't. I'm fine with this,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
I'll echo what Tim said. And also, this came in as a typographical error and they could have just moved forward and gotten their 1,350. So we're getting a better application here. And as Tim noted, we've got the current survey, which is great to have on record. So I'm fine with this as well.
Yeah, me too.
Right. I'll
Tim,
draft that for the board's review and we can put it on for adoption at hopefully next week's meeting.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thank you.
We don't have to sign anything for that, right?
No, it's a modification. You just adopt it.
Good. Thanks for doing that, Nancy. Then that'll be great to move this along. Okay, now we can move on to board determinations and board members. As you recall, we had a little bit of a discussion and some information, excuse me, last week from Brian Frank and from Nancy Lynn Thiel that we've with regard to these PEM devices here, these passive dewatering system pressure equalizing modules, and I believe our task here is to, and Nancy Lynn, you can correct me if I'm incorrect, but I believe our task as a board here is to make a determination as to whether this would fall under an erosion control structure or a coastal restoration project. And maybe I'll go ahead, since really this is a generic thing and it's not in anyone's district. I'll just make a brief comment on this, my feeling on this, and then we'll open it up to you all to discuss. And I'll say this, even though under erosion control structure, and again, thanks to Nancy Lynn and Brian Frank for their memos, under the definitions, even though in erosion control structure, it does say any, as well as, well, I'm going to go ahead and read both of these definitions just so they're on the record and for our 100,000 fans that might be listening tonight. Under erosion control structure or coastal erosion control structure, the definition is every structure sited in or under any body of water, or on or near any shoreline, wetland, beach, or bluff adjacent thereto, which is designed to reduce, retard, or prevent erosion of the shoreline or the silting or filling in of a natural or dredged harbor or channel. This definition shall be deemed to include all groins, jetties, seawalls, revetments, bulkheads, breakwaters, gabions, and riprap, as well as any other man-made fabrication or device, including one made of geotextile tubes or sandbags, which is designed to reduce, retard, or prevent erosion, and which is not included in the definition of coastal restoration project found herein. An erosion control structure shall constitute a coastal structure as defined herein. And now I will read coastal restoration project, the definition from our code. The deposit of sand or soil on a beach, dune, or the face of a bluff in order to restore or replace similar material lost to erosion, and the stabilization of such material by planting beach vegetation. This definition shall include the installation of snow fencing or permeable mesh fencing, the placement of biodegradable fabric mesh or biodegradable gels, and the installation of drains and pipes for the control of water runoff. If these devices are designed and used to allow vegetation to grow upon and stabilize the deposited materials. So here's my take on this. Even as we do see in erosion control structure, where it does note any other man-made fabrication or device, obviously these PEMs are man-made, they are fabricated. When you do go to coastal restoration project, which I feel personally this fits into this category, it seems to me it's very clear at the end where it does talk about the placement and the installation of drains and pipes for the control of water runoff if these devices are designed and used to allow vegetation to grow upon and stabilize the deposited materials. Now, I'll say this, the reason I think it fits perfectly into here, these certainly are pipes. They are draining, they are for draining the wave water, bringing that down subsurface to allow for more of an accretion of sand or settling out from the backwash of the waves, etc., to be deposited on the beach. And as far as used to allow vegetation to grow and upon and stabilize the deposited materials, if these devices are in fact working, as we've seen in some of the literature elsewhere in the country where they have worked, they do end up depositing sand. And if that sand is allowed to remain there, then naturally adjacent beach grass, in my opinion, is going to make its way onto and continue to grow towards the shoreline, thereby stabilizing even better the deposited materials. So that is my take. My feeling is that this clearly fits into a coastal restoration project. And Roy, as vice chair, do you want to go second? If you would, please. Roy, you on mute?
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, and I do agree with you. And further to the discussion, if you go to 255-551, look at F1 in 255-551. It's talking about erosion control structures. Mm-hmm. And I think that this PEM method does not fit into it as a result of this chapter. Number one, if the application involves a new erosion control structure, the applicant shall demonstrate that the erosion control structure of the project site cannot adequately be accomplished by means of a coastal restoration project as defined under the periodic renourishment or renewal of sand or other applications. And if you go to, I think it's number 3, the construction installation, also item number 3, the construction installation or other work proposed for the erosion control structure, as well as future repair, maintenance, or erosion or restoration of the same shall not interfere with the littoral transport of sand or sediment, so as to cause substantial damage or measurable increase, cause the loss of identified habitat for important wildlife or negative vegetation, or exacerbate flood damage by generating floodborne flood stem. So I think that it would not fit into a coastal erosional structure just based on these standards as well. So I do agree that this more fits the definition of a coastal restoration project.
Thank you, Roy. Terry?
Okay, well, I disagree. I don't see it being part of a coastal restoration project. There's no deposit of sand that's going to be done. There is no vegetation that is going to be planted with it. And going to the part of the code that Member Deline just read, it also, I think it's unknown in terms of it not being a coastal erosion structure either. We don't know yet what the result of this would be. If it could possibly impact the littoral flow of water over time. So I don't really see it, well, if anything, I do see it being an erosion control structure. However, I don't understand, this is I watched the videos a couple of times of the presentation to the trustees, and clearly everyone says we don't really know what the outcome of this is going to be, and this is a trial, it's a test. So I'm wondering, why can't this be done as a town test or trial before we decide, gee, it is a coastal erosion control structure or something that could be modified in coastal restoration? But I definitely think it is not a coastal restoration project at this point. So I disagree.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Tim?
Yeah, I think there are compelling reasons to consider both of these definitions, and you could certainly make an argument for both. In the end, I always go back to which of the descriptions are most accurate as it relates to what we're dealing with. And I also agree with the chairman's position about the installation of drains and pipes for the control of water runoff. I just feel that language, which fits under coastal restoration project, makes the contraption that we're looking at for this more consistent with that definition. And so my view would be coastal restoration project.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, if you will, may I add to that?
Sure, everyone
So
can.
in the beginning of the coastal restoration project definition, aside from the drains and pipes part of that definition, it has, and I too have watched the videos with the trustee meeting. I also spent substantial time on the PM website looking into this.
Mhm.
It says the deposit of sand or soil on a beach, dune, or the face of the bluff in order to restore or replace similar material lost to erosion. And that's exactly what the proposed PEM system does. They call it accretion of sand. So what the method is that as the wave action comes in, it carries the sand and it's relieving the backwash, if you will, or the taking away of sand. So it's really the net result would be an accretion of sand, which to me also fits the definition as for deposit of sand. So that's just my take on that.
Right, and I'll just add that.
I disagree with that too, because we don't know. We don't know that is what the result will be. They talked about a location in Florida where there was some accretion of sand. But again, that community did not move forward with the beyond the trial. So, and for whatever reason, I'm leery about putting this into either one of these two categories without a trial of these devices to find out if they do what this town needs them to do.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just, again, I understand. I mean, as Tim says, there's compelling, arguments. I just feel that the intent of this really fits sleeves in nicely with coastal restoration project. That's the intent of it. That's what, I mean, when you go on their website, they have done like 30 projects around the world. And the Florida project did look like a major accretion of sand between the before and the after. And
not a major. And in some comparisons, I too was looking on the websites, was looked at a project in Denmark or something that they did. And they actually compare it. They actually kind of imply that it's almost like a groin. However, that unlike a groin, which will totally wipe out the shoreline next to it, that there's some loss, but they consider it minimal. Again, I just don't think this is ready for the town.
I'm not.
Categories.
Can I just pipe in? I'm not sure our role here is to decide if it works or not.
Right.
I think our role is to decide what definition it fits into better.
Okay, I think it fits
into, and Nancy Lynn could probably fit in. We'll go into that.
The only clarification outstanding with just definition wise is making sure that whether it works or not, whether it should be a trial would be if you felt it didn't meet a definition and you wanted to make a recommendation to the town board to consider a change in the definition or adoption of a trial project. The one thing that I do need clarification on the board, because it was raised by Member Berger, is if those who feel that it fits the coastal restoration project are comfortable, and I know that the chair mentioned it with regards to the part of that definition that talks about the planting of beach vegetation. As long as you're comfortable that a and maybe that would be on more of a case-by-case basis, that if the proposed project on a specific site had to meet that, to also include a pressure equalization module for as a coastal erosion project, does do that half of the definition, and that
Am I wrong? Go ahead.
and that may only be able to be determined when you actually have the application in front of you, to make sure that part of it's included. So that may not be definitive at this point, without it actually having the particular application before you.
Right.
I think I think it's saying this and to go with what you're saying, Nancy Lynn, this definition shall include. It's the definition shall include, not that the method shall include.
Yeah.
No, in order for it to meet the definition, it should include the planting of.
Oh no, I'm not sure. The planting might be one method. The snow fence might be another method. In the definition, they all fit the definition.
No,
Well,
it says if these devices are designed and used to allow vegetation to grow upon and stabilize the material.
It's not an or, it's an and.
It's not doing that.
Yeah, I think I agree with Nancy Lynn's assessment on the vegetation piece of this, but I don't think we can make that assessment until we have an application in front of us. But on that narrow point, I think she's right about vegetation. It's designed to stabilize, and certainly vegetation would help do that.
Right. But I would say, yeah, and I would just add this again, that again says this definition shall include, it goes on to these other techniques that do not have to do with planting of grass and depositing sand, but they do say, the installation of drains and pipes for the control of water runoff, if they are designed are designed and used to allow vegetation to grow upon and stabilize the deposited material. So to repeat myself, basically my thinking is in this part of the definition, if the sand in a perfect world, if we get this wonderful accretion of sand, then naturally that is going to allow for natural vegetation to grow the way it does on beach sand. Now, maybe in the future when we get applications before this, there will be some other conditions that we will be looking for, some plantings or something. But again, that's not part of our task tonight, right?
I think that's the distinction that you can make.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Actor was saying I feel it doesn't fit into either one, and I think the town we should recommend a trial.
Yeah, I just don't, to that point, Terry, I just don't know if it's, in our purview right now to be telling the town that we want them to go out and find a piece of land where they can do a trial of this system. I think
they could do a trial with one of these applicants. I don't think it fits either one of these definitions at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
So, if it, just so to put it in framework, if there's a determination or an interpretation, because that's what you're making at tonight, interpretation that from the information that has been presented to you, that a pressure equalization module fits the definition of a coastal restoration project. At this point, the application would come to the board and be dealt with by the planning department in a certain manner, because it would not need a variance. But it would come in as another process. When the board is looking at that process and then looking at that application, just because it is it fits the definition and could be approved as a coastal restoration project, does not mean that the board has to approve the proposed application that comes before it. And at that point, conditions could be put on it with regards to results being effectuated in a certain period of time, and for that to continue. Because as you know, coastal restoration projects and even coastal erosion structures don't necessarily mean it's permanent if it doesn't do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. Nancy Lynn, pardon me 1 second. Well, yeah. So in other words, if this came in, we may, one application may say, besides doing this, I want to deposit some sand also. I want to plant upland, some vegetation. And as you say, our conditions could be, after 5 years or whatever, if nothing's happening and there is some erosion for whatever reason or some other reason, and these pipes are sticking out of the ground or something, maybe, one of the conditions would be that the applicant must remove this device that did not work or something like that. But that's not tonight. That's not.
That would be on a application by application basis. This
Exactly.
is just how is the board going to have these applications come before?
Process, right.
Again, Mr. Chairman, if we will, and with all respect to Ms. Berger, I understand what you're saying, but we can't say whether it's going to work or not, because there's instances, the definition includes the depositing of sand, and we know well and good that the depositing of sand does not always work. We might have a storm that comes in and wipes out what they've deposited. We've seen that in Montauk many times with the new restoration project they've done. So we can't pigeonhole ourselves and to say that it has to work.
I'm not trying to do that. I actually think the devices sound very interesting for a project, but if this was my real job and I had to evaluate some new technology coming in for my field of work, and I was left with this feeling, well, we're not sure, I would recommend a trial. So that's what I'm recommending here.
Right.
I don't think it fits either one of these.
Okay. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, board members.
I will draft a determination on this interpretation for your review. If I can have that ready for next week, I will, and you guys can edit it or add to it if you feel that I haven't captured everything that has been discussed tonight.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Nancy Lynn. Thank you.
Problem.
Okay, next we'll move on along the agenda now. Next we have Teresa Quigley. I'm going to recuse myself initially on this. So I'm going to do the same and ask Vice Chair Deline to take over the meeting, and I'll just back out of the meeting here, okay? Thank you, Roy.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, Mr. Chairman has left the meeting. So I'll read this into the record. Teresa Quigley, applicant. Size, location is 29 Wellers Lane, Amagansett. Subject tax map number 300-152-02-11. The original ZBA determined filed July 11th on 2018. Applicant is trying to obtain a certificate of occupancy. The board should discuss if the sanitary system not being installed is something that needs to be addressed prior to a certificate of occupancy being issued, or if they feel that the sanitary upgrade was connected with the addition to the residence, which was not completed. Is there a planner that can shed some light on this more for us?
Yeah, evening board members. Yeah, I'm pinch hitting for Tyler again. So basically the original determination was for second floor additions, the swimming pool, new sanitary, new stairs over the existing decking, screened in porch, and a little bit of clearing involved. At this point, they're looking for a CO for kind of effectively half the project. The swimming pool, pool patio, screen-in porch have all been completed in accordance with the determination. They basically never did the additions, nor the sanitary. So the question, but there's kind of two questions before the board. One being, is the board okay issuing a CO as it was completed now, without doing the sanitary? Do they, and whether or not they feel that that's more linked to the additions or the project overall? The second question being, the board should discuss if this closes out the NRSP that was granted, or if they stay current with extensions of time, at some point later on down the road, they can do the second half of the project, which would then have to include the additions and the sanitary. So there's kind of two questions before the board at this time.
So
And
Michael, just go ahead.
Did the board got that, because the applicant did send a email that I think was passed around to the board today, clarifying, basically that there were the pool, the bedroom, and then also converting a porch. Those were the three parts of the project, and they've done the pool and the decking. They don't intend to do the bedroom, but they want to leave open the converting of the open porch. And so, not sure process, right? Are we modifying it so that it's only for part of it, or what is the?
So the question to me, Nancy Lynn, is isn't this a determination that the building inspector has to make as far as the 50% of the value of the house? I'm not sure.
No, the septic on this was part of the mitigation on your determination.
Okay.
So the question is the board comfortable with not having gotten the mitigation and still allowing for part of the variances? There was other mitigation. I believe if you look at the determination, I think there was some revegetation as well. There may have been a, let's see, there was a CNR also that was supposed to be done. I don't know if that's been done as well, because the CNR talked about the
Nancy Lynn, I have a copy of the CNRs if they were filed with the county.
Okay, they did do those, and that didn't have anything to do with that didn't include the CNRs didn't include the septic, so that wouldn't be
no
upset. So it's just whether or not, because the mitigation in your determination, it did talk about the fact that the facts of the conditions of the parcel are expected to improve as the applicant will install a new sanitary system and will revegetate any area disturbed by construction activities. So that was part of the mitigation. Is the board okay with if they only do part of the project, that they only have to do part of the mitigation, or are you okay with accepting half of it? And then do you want to accept half of it and let them come back to do the other half? Or do you want to do it, leave it as it is, and or require a modification? I'm sorry.
I remember this. I was on the board at this time, and I mean, what a little bit what I'm struggling with is I remember this being, because it's a very constrained lot, if I remember, right, Michael? Mm-hmm. So the board actually looked at this in its whole and entirety. There was, I believe, representations and stuff done. So we looked at it as a whole. To bifurcate it or is sort of difficult for me in my mind to do that. But I mean, we have to consider something. I would it's board members. What do you think? Maybe
I agree with you, Roy. I kind of remember this hearing, and it was very constrained. They did the pool. I know I had a problem with the pool without the, and then they threw in the mitigation was for the sanitary system. But they did the pool, how much did they clear, Michael? Do we know? It was clearing, and they were going to revegetate. They were going to
Michael,
clear
can you
1,370.
Can you pull up the survey?
Yeah, I've got the aerial here. Let me see if I can get the This is, it's going to give me a moment for it to load. And this should be the survey. Yeah, and this is dated June 12th, 2020.
Can you expand that? And this is
I mean,
this
that's
wetlands
the
or
pool, right? Yeah.
is this wetlands or dune environment? I forget.
I don't know. Instantly, by the looks of the survey, it was for dunes. I think the pyramid request was for, or the variance request rather, was for pyramid, and not necessarily for any sort of wetland setbacks. I'm not seeing anything on. I have a color copy of the survey in front of me, so it's a little handier. I'm not seeing anything in front of me that shows wetlands or anything. Clearing calculations.
It was an NSRP as well, though.
Correct. It would have been an NRSP and the pyramid, but it wouldn't have been any sort of minimum wetland setback variances or anything based on what
my question is, a zoning board or the zoning board at that time is, wouldn't the mitigation have been primarily because of the swimming pool? On an
To me, it
NRSP?
was, I know that.
Well, I was on the board at the time as well.
Yeah.
I think it's, and I certainly remember the hearing and the situation. I think it was both, Roy. I think it was both the additional units that were being put in the home, as well as the swimming pool, as well as the disturbance. You know, what I tried to do was look at this simply as, if this were to come in today as only the swimming pool, would we approve it without a septic upgrade? I think that's what we would ask for. I mean, my feeling would be that that's what we would request.
Well, and it was more than the pool, right? We said the porch was done, Michael? The porch was done and the clearing was done?
Yeah, and some clearing for the pool. I'm trying to pull up the, see if I can find real quick, the survey from the original determination to give us an idea as to where the sanitary was approved. Because I think it, you know, in a situation like this where it was an NRSP for a pool and a constraint on a, you know, kind of a tight lot to begin with, you know, the board would want to make sure that there was room for a sanitary at a later date. You know, and if they felt that they needed to require it because of that. I don't know if there's, and this for you guys to say, but if there's really a, you know, swimming pool to sanitary nexus. But
Well, I agree with, you know, Co-Chair Deline that, you know, we looked at it as a whole, and if you add up all those pieces together.
right.
And,
I don't know, I'm not comfortable allowing a C of O.
I mean, I think, Member Brenneman's gone on to it that, you know, if this would have come in as just a swimming pool, you know, would you approve it as is? Or was that sanitary a large component of, you know, why it got approved the way it did?
Also, Michael, we're not, now they're asking not to re-veg and not to do the septic, am I right?
They should have re-vegged all areas disturbed by construction. I didn't go out and do the inspection. Tyler did. He said that it seemed to be in line with that condition of the board's original determination. I don't know offhand if there was a formal revegetation plan associated with this. It looks like it was kind of just any areas disturbed by construction to be revegetated with beach grass. And that there wasn't a formal re-veg.
Okay, so just to be clear, they have re-veg, and we can have that verified.
Yeah, I believe Tyler's already been out there to take a look at it, and it says, you know, in the first sentence of the second paragraph of the memo, the construction of the swimming pool, pool patio, screened-in porch all appear to have been completed and in accordance with the board's determination. So to me, that reads that all of the conditions have been adhered to, effectively save the sanitary system.
Had to get that out of that.
Yeah.
Swimming
I
pool,
also
pool
think-
patio, and screened-in porch all appear to have been completed.
Effectively everything but the additions and the sanitary.
Oh, yeah, I just so you know from
And
the
there's no
applicant,
mention about the revegetation.
there's
No,
no
I think it
mention
was
on that. But if I may it is the contention of the applicant says that they did not want to build a bedroom, but the conversion of the open porch to a screen porch and extension of it, that hasn't been done yet. So that hasn't been completed yet.
So they're effectively, by that standard, there hasn't been an increase in living space.
They haven't increased, but they want to continue they want that option still
In the future.
in the future. They're willing to give up, like if the board were to say, do this as a modification, they don't have to do the septic, but they can't do the bedroom. They still want the part of the approval where they can convert and extend the porch, the open porch to a screen porch.
So they're asking for a modification. No,
Well,
they're asking.
They're
no,
asking
they're
how
not.
to proceed.
They're
They're
asking for-
asking
yeah.
whether or not they could get a C of O now and just leave those other items open, or do they need to come in for a modification? Or what is the next step? And they're asking how the board, so the board could say, no, you can't get your C of O unless the septic is done. The board could say, come in and put in a modification so that you're giving up the bedroom and the porch unless you do the septic. The board could also say, you have your approval, you need to do it. No, at no point is the building department not going to let them get a C of O if they do all the mitigation measures, but don't do all the building. So they're not gonna make them do the building part of it, but they will
I'm
make
gonna-
the mitigation part of it.
Board members, I might make a suggestion, and maybe we take a week and look into this a little further, maybe decide this next week. What I would like to know from Michael or Tyler, if you can let us know what the hearing date is, because I might want to go back and take a look at that.
I can give you that date because I have the resolution right in front of me. The hearing date was May 1st, 2018.
Is that okay with you, board members?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
fine.
I was leaning toward a modification, but yeah, we could take another week.
And Tim, Tim, what's your thought?
No, I like the idea of going back and being thoughtful about, number one, reviewing what the submission was and what our logic was. Do we, Nancy, Lynn, do we know when we discussed this application? Because that would really be to me, an important thing for us to listen to as well.
I can find that out for you. It's not in your, it's not stated on the determination. The determination wasn't filed until July, so it's sometime obviously between May and July. I will research that and email the board so that you can look that up.
Yeah, that would be helpful. Thank you
Yep.
very much.
Okay, I didn't see the determination. Will we send that today?
The
from
determination,
2018?
I think
I don't
it
have
was,
that printed.
I think it was in the email that I sent to you, Terry, but there was a lot of stuff in that.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
I think it might be
Yeah.
wise for us just to look at this over the next week and regroup on it next week.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Tim?
Yes, I am too.
Okay.
And I'll get that in the next day or so, get you the day that you guys discussed the decision.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
How do we knock on John's door to say he can come out?
We can send him a text.
Would you like me to help out?
Yes, you can unmute him.
Okay.
And then go find them.
John, are you there?
Hey, I'm here. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, John.
Can you hear me all?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, you all. Okay, moving along here. Next, we have board decisions. We have Gregory Press. I will read this in. The applicant is Gregory Press. The lot size and location, 91 Swamp Road, East Hampton, tax map number 300-133-2-15. The variance without a hearing where the applicant is proposing to legalize an existing pool, patio, and pool equipment. Variances of 1.9 feet and 10 feet are required to allow the pool, patio to remain located 38.1 feet and pool equipment 30 feet respectively from the eastern side yard lot line where 40 feet is required. And this is in board member Brenneman's district. And Eleni, is Eleni with us, or you pinch hitting Michael?
Eleni looks like she's there.
Oh, you are. Great. Thanks, Eleni.
I can bring up the survey for you guys.
Thank you.
If you wanna.
Yeah, sure. That'd be great.
And just procedurally, just reminding the board that in a previous meeting, you made the determination that this fits in our code with regards to variances that can proceed without a hearing. And I have received the affidavit of posting and mailings that are required under that section. And it appears that the notice, the mailings and the postings appear to be in order.
Great. Thank you, Nancy Lynn. I should have asked you that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
so-
Eleni, if you want to, or Tim, if you want. Tim, you know the project, if you would, please.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we've already reviewed this, and just to remind the board, I believe this was in our first meeting back after our brief hiatus. I drove out and took some photographs here and presented it to the board. The position of the pool and pool equipment, pool patio and pool equipment is such that the variance is really from that back lot. And if you recall, this is a long driveway that runs along the neighbor's property. So we have screening, we have the road, and then we have the pool and so forth. So we all felt at the time that there was substantial screening here, I think, to approve this. And so, I'm happy to have Eleni answer any questions, but otherwise I could make a motion to approve this.
Can we go through the factors of variance factors, please?
Okay.
I need to have them in the determination, so sorry.
All right.
So, well, Tim, just while you're pulling that up, Tim, I'll just add for the record that we did receive a letter of support from Mr. Bragman, who's the next door neighbor there. And as well, just as a reminder, much of what looks like clearing in the back was apparently from the what's that, the pine, the beetle, what's it? The
Pine beetle, yeah.
The pine beetle, yeah, right. That happened.
Now Bragman is on the side point.
He'd be on the
It's
top.
the house that's
left
away
side.
from the pool, right?
Yeah, up in the top of the image there. Kind of, yeah.
On the left, toward the
On
left.
the left, yeah.
And just to be clear, there were no letters of objection which would have required a hearing, so procedurally.
Right.
So I don't have my sheet in front of me. Does anybody have the
Tim,
sheet?
I have them open if you want me to read them, and then we can comment on them.
Perfect, please,
Yep.
Roy.
Thank you, Roy.
Hold on a sec. So does the benefit to the applicant from grant of an area variance outweigh any detriment which grant of the area variance will cause the general health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or the town as a whole? My vote is no. Tim?
Correct. Yeah, I agree.
Terry?
Oh, yeah, I agreed.
I agree as well. Thanks, Roy.
Is the
Yeah,
area
good point.
variance to be granted the minimum variance necessary and adequate to alleviate the difficulty causing the applicant to request an area variance, while at the same time preserving and protecting the character of the neighborhood and the general health, safety, and welfare of the town as a whole? My vote is yes.
I agree with that as well. I think this is a minimum variance.
Terry?
Has the applicant, nope,
Yeah.
okay.
Go ahead. We
All
agree.
right.
Terry and I agree. Thank you.
Has the applicant shown that the benefit accruing to him from grant of the requested variance outweighs any harm which will be caused to the neighborhood or the town, and that the variance requested is minimum variance that needed to alleviate his difficulty while safeguarding the character of the neighborhood and the general welfare of the town? And I agree with that as well.
As do I.
Yeah.
And I do too. Thank you.
Will the grant of the variance cause an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood, or will it create a detriment to nearby properties? My vote is no.
Same here.
Same.
Same here. Thanks, Roy.
Can the benefit sought by the applicant be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue? The answer to me, I would say, is yes, but I think as Mr. Brenneman pointed out, was adequate screening here to protect it. And I think that offsets the need for him to do that.
I agree, and I would further note that it's the impacted neighbor, it's really their driveway. The neighbor that is most impacted is actually the neighbor to the east. And there's a driveway and screening that separate them, and the distance more than outweighs the variance here. So I agree with that.
Terry?
Me also.
Yeah, I do. And just to add to Tim's comment, the house, as you see, the neighbor's house who's most affected is, closer to the road than this house and further from the pool and equipment than the subject house. So I agree.
Is the difficulty causing the applicant to the request an area variance self-created? And yes, it is self-created. Again, I think the screening and what Member Brenneman has pointed out earlier also applies.
I agree.
I agree.
As do I. Thank you. Roy, is that it? That's the end of the standard, right?
The
Yes.
end.
Okay,
Yes, you're good.
great. Thanks, Nancy. Okay, Tim, you want to make your motion, please?
Yes, so in the matter of Gregory Press at 91 Swamp Road in East Hampton, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-133-2-15, I make a motion to approve this variance without a hearing.
Second.
Well, you've already agreed
Yeah, so
to
really,
did that?
do
we
this
don't need
without
a
a
motion,
hearing.
really.
Hang on a
Nancy,
second.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Nancy Lynn.
You've already approved it to go without a hearing. You need to wait and get a written determination
Yeah.
and adopt that. So you're a little ahead of the game. So you will get a written determination to review and hopefully adopt. I have a lot of homework before next week.
Right. So thank you. Yeah, I misspoke. Tim, I misspoke when I asked you for a motion. My apologies. Yeah, right. We'll make that motion when we have the written determination to approve that determination. So we can move on now to Gordon. The applicant is Sam, the applicants are Sam and Gwen Gordon, and the lot size and location 134 Underwood Drive, East Hampton, at tax map number 300-39-9-14. And this again is a variance without a hearing application proposing to legalize an existing pool deck. A variance of 2.6 feet is required to allow the existing pool deck to remain 17.4 feet from the property line where 20 feet is required. And again, we already did approve that this go forward without a hearing, and the time period has passed for that, so that we can now discuss.
And Chair, the affidavit of notice.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Has been received. The paperwork appears to be in order, and the board has not received any letters in opposition.
Thank you, Nancy Lynn.
No problem.
Okay, this board members is in Roy, Board Vice Chair Roy Delene's district. Roy,
Yes.
Eleni can help us out here too. Thank you, Roy and Eleni.
Sure. Thank you for this survey. So again, this is an application very similar to the press application, where the owner has installed a pool deck. My overall on this is that I think this is a very minimal request. Also, very similar to the other one, that there is substantial screening around the property. And I believe the applicant came and said, or made a comment that, for as a matter of safety for his kids or whatever, he built this. It's a 2.6 foot request on a 20-foot setback request. So I'll quickly go through the variance discussion guide again. Does the benefit of the applicant from grant of an area variance outweigh any detriment which grant of variance will cause the general health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or the town as a whole? I do believe it does. Is the area variance to be granted the minimum variance necessary and adequate to alleviate the difficulty causing the applicant? Yes, it is. And also with the screening, I think adequate screening, and I think that offsets it. It's a small variance once again. Has the applicant shown to the benefit accruing to him from grant of request of variance outweighs any harm which will be caused to the neighborhood or the town? Yes. And again, the screening comes into play here. Will the grant of the variance cause an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood, or will it create a detriment to nearby properties? No. Can the benefit be sought by the applicant be achieved by some other method? Once again, the answer to this is yes, he could comply with the setbacks, but however, I think the screening does mitigate that need. Is there requested area variance substantial? The answer that I think is no. Is a grant of the variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood? No. And is it self-created? Yes. But once again, it's a minimum variance, and the screening is, I think, adequate mitigation for the variance.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Board members, you want to comment if you agree with Board Member Deline on the standards?
I have no further comments. I agree with Member Deline.
Same here.
And I agree as well. Thank you, board members. Council, that should be enough, correct?
I have what I need.
Okay, excellent. That's what we like. Okay, moving along, we're getting there. We have the minutes approval for the July 7th, 2020 minutes. I've reviewed these. They looked in order to me. Do I have a motion for anyone to approve the minutes for July 7th, 2020?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the Zoning Board of Appeals dated July 7th, 2020.
Second.
Roy is muted. Roy, you're muted if you hear us. Roy, can you hear us?
Roy. I think he froze. He might have, his connection maybe.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
There he is. Roy, you there now?
Yes, I am. I don't know what happened there.
You got frozen. Yeah. Do you concur
Yes, I concur.
on the minutes? Okay, thank you. I do as well. Thank you, Tim, for the motion, and Brittany for the minutes. Council, do we have any other business on your end?
I don't know. Terry, you all set?
What was I wanted to discuss? Oh, I guess I just wanted to ask, if we're gonna have potential admins, is that what I wanted? That if they're in Montauk, I would like to get kind of a heads up from the planner that they're contemplating it. So I could just check it out a little bit beforehand.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's a request.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be a problem. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Great. Michael, if you could just pass that on to your fellow planners, that would be great. Thank you. Anything else, Terry, or anyone else?
I don't think so.
No? Council?
That's all I have on our agenda.
Okay, excellent. Thank you all. And Vice Chair Deline, I think we need a motion from you, if you would.
Yes, therefore I make a motion to close the zoning, Town of East Hampton Zoning Board of Appeals work session, July 14th at 7:40 PM.
Second.
Concur.
And I concur. Thank you all.
Thank you once again.
Have a good evening. Hopefully soon we'll get together in person. We'll see what happens. See when that starts to take place. But thank you all. And thank you, planners Lenny and Michael.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Good night.